Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today we're making butter crescent rolls. I like these very much, okay? We need to heat up in a saucepan, which I've got over here. Heat the milk until bubbles appear around the edge of the pan. You don't want it boiling, you just want to heat it up to that point. So put it on a low flame to make sure that you don't, burn the milk or anything. All right, and in a bowl here, you're going to use 1 stick of butter, cut it up, which I already did, and you're going to add 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar, which is just regular white sugar. And salt we're going to be adding. Like I tell you, I can't remember half these recipes. I cook so much. You need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. By the way, I have a lot of different crescent recipes. Though they're called crescent rolls or crescents, I've got a lot of different ones done in different combinations and stuff, and they're really quite good. And I'm having my coffee right now. I should say my mushroom coffee, but it's made with chicory root. Okay. Now we have to wait, and then we'll get other things going. We have to wait for this milk. So this isn't dirty, I just set it on top. Yeast. I was shocked. I have recipes that call for quick yeast, not the regular one, or sourdough. I was shocked. I said, I never buy this stuff, and yet I'm going to find myself buying it. I got the jar in the refrigerator with the butter. So let's see, I need 1/4. I just started getting butter. I got the bubbles around the edges there. I just got them. Now, what do you want me to do? All right, now I'm going to have to cool this down a bit. So I'll be back, because that's exactly what they want us to do, cool it down, because the milk is too hot to add the yeast and stuff, so I'll be back. Okay, now you're going to add a 1/2 cup of cool water. And you're going to add 2 1/2. How much is this? Hold on. See, I don't use this often. 2 1/4. You're going to use 1 packet of yeast. If you're using the jar, you're going to need 2 1/2 teaspoons. That's 2. This is 1/4. Is there anything else I have to add into this? All right, we're going to add an egg into this as well. Now they're talking about mixing all this with a mixer, but I don't. I usually use my hands and a spoon. Now if your yeast is good and the date is good, it'll rise. If you don't, and you're unsure or you didn't keep it in the right spot, you might find yourself having a slight problem with it. Now we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of whole wheat flour into this. am I doing it? To make it more nutritious. Because we're going to add anywhere from 3.5 to 4 cups of flour in this. Now, if your butter's not melted, don't worry. When we start kneading it and stuff, it's going to start doing what it has to do. Now we're going to add a cup of all-purpose. I remember when bread was being bought in the store, when you first bought it and you made a loaf of homemade bread, it tasted exactly the same. You couldn't tell the difference from one loaf to another except that one was cut, but flavor-wise it was just as though you had made it. And as time has gone on, the breads have lost that beautiful flavor of homemade bread. So you can see the difference as things move forward. Add another cup. Cup on the counter. We're going to make it a bed, and that's literally what it is when you pat it out. I don't need these. This is a bed for actually when you're working with dough. So if you read the directions, they say make a bed. This is exactly what they're talking about. And what it does is it prevents, for a minute I lost it. What it does is it prevents it from just sticking to the counter and making a mess. So you make a bed of flour for it to lay on while you work it till you can get it where you want it. This has got to get hot water in because we're going to need it later. So put hot water into your bowl. While we're kneading this, we're going to have to grease this and put it in here again. Now you're going to see pieces of your butter in here, but as we work this, we're going to be working the butter in because our hands are warm. So you will see it melt as you handle it. Can you imagine having these for breakfast and how nice they'd be? you can see the butter's getting smaller. As you handle it, it gets softer and softer and just melt right in as you need it. I have a sourdough crescent roll that is similar to a recipe that I've been looking, how you take butter, soft butter, and you overlap so you get the different layers, flakes of crescent rolls. I had been looking for that recipe for a long, long time. Somebody took the magazine that had my cheesecake in it, and that, I guess you would call it puff pastry, to actually make it yourself. Now, when we start making and cooking with a, what is it called? A baking stone, you're going to have to learn some terminologies so you'll understand. If you get one of these books, when they mention these words, you'll know exactly what they're talking about, because these are the words that they use to make the breads in Europe. You also might want to get, what's it called? Oh, I can't remember. I'll find it. So there will be a few things that I'll bring to your attention that you'll have to buy and learn so we can understand these recipes that will be coming through. But right now we've got other things we've got to do. You see how the butter melts in so nicely? Just by you handling it. So you didn't have to melt the butter, just by working it and doing it this way, it works right in. And see, it's not taking in flour really, so I've got just the amount that I need. There. And here's what it looks like when you have smooth and elastic. That's what it looks like. And clean your bowl out. Make sure it's hot. If it's cold, it's going to take longer for it to rise. And you don't want to interfere with that. Like, I didn't think that bread was ever going to rise yesterday. Oh my God, I was so mad with it. So there was nothing I could do. I knew the weather was damp and it was cold. So I was going to have a problem. I just didn't think it was going to take that long. Now you're going to get some oil and you're going to grease this bowl all in the inside so the dough doesn't stick to it. Just like I told you, because this is in a sourdough, it can dry out and you don't want it to dry out. If you don't have oil and you wish to use shortening, you can do shortening, but make sure you grease the whole inside of the bowl. Take it, put it upside down, twist it around because you're coating the top of it. Then you're going to flip it over and tuck it in nice and neat and the whole thing is greased. See?
I'll bring it up close.
See, it's all greased, very nice. Put a couple of towels over it. They say one, I always put two. Keep it nice and warm in 1 hour. We should be back to take care of this.